first senses that stood out to me when walking through the streets of Marrakesh was the smell of Moroccan street food, which was usually being cooked over a hot fire. You see and smell these clouds of smoke that fill the air, and there's like a sweet but earthy scent of charcoal and grilled meats that permeate the tight-knit streets of the Medina.
Oh, sure, we're about to do it? A bit more than the smell. Oh, that's a beefy one right there.
It's like 200% protein.
This one's the donut with the egg, right?
Oh, wow.
It's very savory, I like it. Oh, it's like kind of curry-like.
Really? Music is an essential part of life in Morocco, and we heard a variety of styles and instruments throughout our trip. One standout moment was this impromptu concert from a music shop vendor within the souks of the old city. He whipped out the violin and played it Arab style. After learning that Grace and I both play violin, he insisted that we give it a try. We learned that the Arab violin is tuned to D-G-D-G instead of the G-D-A-E that we are used to. This was challenging to adjust to, and I struggled to play even a simple melody. He was encouraging nonetheless, and I really cherished this moment of communicating and connecting with others through the universal language of music.
The architecture in Morocco was so fascinating to me. The horseshoe arches, Islamic domes, and towers were all remarkably ornate with complex geometric designs. Each building that we visited had an ancient story to tell. Some of the buildings were smaller yet opulent, while others were grand with beautiful courtyards and gardens that was lush with so many plants or fountains. Even the riad that we stayed in had a small yet charming courtyard with plants and a pool. We couldn't help but take so many pictures in these buildings and riads because each one is a true work of art.
After a hot and sweaty 20 hours on the bus, and then 2.5 hours on camel, we arrived at our unexpectedly luxurious Sahara tent camp. Here, we met our host Saeed, along with 3 other guys who all shared the same name. We called them Hamid 1, Hamid 2, and Hamid 3. They welcomed us into the camp with a generous dose of mint tea, and we were soon off to a traditional Moroccan dinner of tagine and couscous. After dinner came the party portion of our night. This was the pinnacle of our Sahara trip for me, joining our hosts in song, dance, and instruments around an open fire under the stars. Sound of the traditional Berber instruments and drums filled the desert air. That night, we lived freely and totally in the moment. We woke up at 4:30 a.m. the next morning to hop back on our camels and catch the sunrise over the top of the dunes. Our exit from the Sahara was higher speed, higher horsepower, and had quite a bit more adrenaline than our way in. Found Moroccan people to be extroverted, energetic, and genuinely friendly. Although you do have to be wary of scams or deceptive sales practices like many countries in the world, my interactions with locals were overwhelmingly positive. During our stay in Morocco, we made a friend whose name is Abdul on our first day in the souks of Marrakesh. Grace was looking to buy a pair of leather sandals and drove for a hard bargain when negotiating with Abdul. A combination of affability and a great sense of humor on his part won us over already before we agreed to the final price. Days later, we returned to Abdul in order to buy more sandals for family members. This time he greeted us with a big hug and immediately offered us to sit down to share a pot of mint tea in his shop.
Oh. How are you? We came back to see you.
You remember us, right? Oh, good.
Standard, yes.
Say, we're family. We're making ourselves comfortable.
There's some tea?
Sure. Yeah.
For you, for me, what size you?
I am US size now. Through a combination of English, French, and physical gestures, we had an immensely enjoyable conversation that included everything from politics and world leaders to friendly banter about our families. This your son?
Yes.
Oh, what's your name?
Usama.
Usama?
Yes.
Oh, Mike. Nice to meet you.
Osama bin Laden.
He looks like a president from South Korea. He says.
No, no, South, no.
North Korea, North Korea, the Kim Jong-un.
You know what's Morocco? Morocco, it's good.
I like Morocco a lot.
It's good.
Why is it good?
It's good with all of the
Oh,
country.
neutral.
Yes,
Neutral.
We have with America good relationship, with Israel, with Russia, with China, with all
With the Arab
people,
world.
with all European.
Then he invited us to his house for lunch, which Michael and I enthusiastically accepted. In the middle of the busy Medina was an unassuming door which led to Abdul's welcoming home.
Merci. Salam. Oh yeah? Nice to meet you, Mike. This is my wife, Grace.
We met
Good,
Abdul's
thank you.
wife and his beautiful daughter, Hadija.
Hello. Assalamu alaikum.
They served us leban and brought out a large platter of vegetable couscous and chicken. Throughout our lunch together, we continued our conversation on a variety of topics, but something that we really enjoyed was comparing the similarities and differences that we found across our cultures. Michael especially loved connecting with Abdul's son Omar, whom we still have contact with today, and we will always be grateful to Abdul and his family for showing us such beautiful hospitality.
I caught such a distinct vibe during my trip to Morocco. This is a country that consistently overturned my expectations and had surprises waiting around every corner. Every city, village, and street has a story to tell, and we always felt like there were more hidden gems yet to be explored. Most of all, I cannot forget the Moroccan people who welcomed us, laughed with us, and gifted us with memories to cherish.
To all of our friends in Morocco who are watching this, thank you so much for being so kind and generous to me and to Michael and making our trip so memorable. We will always remember the Moroccan people as being truly good-natured and unsparing in their welcome. I hope one day in the near future that our paths may cross again.